Good evening, YouTube. What I want to talk about today is how to schedule your gym sessions around a full time job. As you can pretty much see, I think I'm credible to talk about this. Build a pretty decent physique. It's taken around 2 years apart. Yes, actually 2 years. And goddamn, I looked like a bitch. Not gonna lie. Um, I specifically wanted to make a video about this because I work full time and more than full time in the office. I work like 60, 65-hour weeks constantly. And I wanted to have a good physique. I wanted to reach this as I was basically skinny my whole life. And when you think about the most average person in the world, it's probably a guy in his 20s, early 30s who either is studying and working or is just working full time. So that's why I think getting an advice from a person who is at the same position, that is working in the office full time, having little time and energy to hit the gym, but still wants to get a decent look. That's why I think I'm credible to give this advice because I have both working full time job and a pretty decent physique. So starting, obviously your job is more important than gym, so it comes as a higher priority. Uh, so anything that we'll talk about in here, always remember that work is more important, and it's only really applicable to insanely small amount of people. Like I'm very drastic, and radical that putting gym and nutrition above everything and eliminating as much as possible. But of course, job comes as a higher priority, and I've never met a person who would be like so into weightlifting and gym that that would affect his or her performance at the work. So don't think that that is you, and you should spend less time in the gym because you have to work and you work like 40 hours per week. You're not that guy. Trust me, you're not that guy. Then look for a routine which is more sustainable for you. Look for both sides, right? Going to the gym before or after work. I personally prefer to going after work. I tried both, and honestly, you will get much more results from training with high intensity, right? That means you will feel tired and exhausted after the gym, both physically and mentally. So if you have this argument for going to the gym in the morning because you feel energized after that to go to work, you are doing it wrong. You're doing it all wrong. There's no way that you can train with high intensity and feel energized after this. The workout, after workout, you're not supposed to feel energized. If you feel energized and your mood is better, you ain't doing it right, man. You are not doing it right. It has to be. It is actually really exhausting if you want to achieve real results. With my current job, I tried training both before and after work. And before work, I think I tried this maybe for like 3 weeks. I had to wake up at 5 a.m., which sucked. I had no time to eat before training, so I had really little energy in the gym. I felt like I wanted to throw up without even training hard. And I just felt so weak, so weak. I had this constant anxiety about not having enough time at the gym, that I will be late for work. There's honestly very few people at the gym that early, so I had little motivation, as there were few people. That's just how it works for me. And I had to go to sleep at 9 p.m. And it was honestly very difficult, specifically during summer. Plus, I was living with my parents at the time, who were very loud and interrupting constantly, and listening to TV very loud and constantly. They're constantly watching TV and very loud. So it was quite difficult for me to fall asleep. I had this constant anxiety that, man, I have to fall asleep before 9 p.m. otherwise my whole schedule is fucked. and it was putting even more pressure and stress on me, and this extra stress was making me even harder to fall asleep. My fucking humor, man. So look, just try both, see which routine you can hold consistently for. That's the most important. But I would really prefer to go during the night. That's like I wrote night, and that's what I saw. Next one. Weekends are absolutely non-negotiable. Non-negotiable to hit the gym. I think in the last 7 months, I've skipped only one Sunday. I remember that Sunday very well. I felt like shit after that. I'm not gonna tell it. I felt so horrible for not going to the gym. I wasn't even sick. I was just I like didn't have a clear schedule, and I just fucked it all up, man. I felt so bad the day after that, and the Sunday at all. I went to the gym on Monday, which wasn't in my plan, just so I can compensate for Sunday. But man, it was such a bad feeling. I'm not gonna lie. And honestly, uh, on the weekends, look, you have the most time ever on the weekends because you don't have to work. And right now, it just blows my mind. How can you spend a weekend without going to the gym when you have the most time, the most energy? You are literally in your prime. Right now, it's Sunday, 9:40 p.m. I'm absolutely in my prime. I'm absolutely in my prime. I'm the longest I've been without work, so I'm the freshest. So make sure, non-negotiable. Just fucking push that into your head. Keep supplements in the office. So make sure that you are not missing them. Have them in the office, man. I keep my vitamins and creatine in the office. It means I don't have it at home, right? But then I'm 100% sure I'm taking it 5 days in a week. I also have a food scale in the office. I'm the only guy who has food scale in the office. I have food scale at my place, at my parents' place, and in the office. One time, what was the situation? I don't remember. I think I was with my friend in the office kitchen, and we saw a protein bar that said it was 50 grams, and I said it looks way too small for 50 grams. And he says, well, too bad we don't have a food scale. And I say, hold on a minute. I have a food scale. I'm taking a food scale, putting it, I'm taking a protein bar, putting it on a food scale. It was actually more than 50 grams. So I was bitching for no reason. And he was like, man, you have a food scale? Like, this guy is crazy. You have to be crazy. If you want to look like this, and not like this bitch, you gotta do what you gotta do, man. Keep supplements in the office. Buy food on Saturdays and meal prep on Sundays. Look, doing it separately is easier than in the same day. Although, like buying groceries, like with the process of driving in and driving back home, it takes me probably like 40 minutes at most, right? 40 minutes at most. And cooking for the 5 days ahead, I think like hour and a half. So 2 hours, 10 minutes. I can put it together in one day, but honestly, I tried it once. It just wasn't flying with me, man. It just wasn't really flying with me. I couldn't really do this. So that's really my advice. Best foods to buy are the ones that require the least cooking and can be stored for 5 days, right? That's not the advice you would get normally on the internet. But look, I'm the office underground dog, just like most of people are. I'm here for you. I have plenty of advices on this stuff. So I personally buy frozen potato wedges, which are even already seasoned. It literally takes me like 1 minute to put them in an air fryer. That's it. That's it, man. That's basically it. That's basically all for my carbs. For protein, I buy pre-cooked and cut chicken breast. Imagine it's already cut in the strips, just how I love it. So I don't have to wash it. I don't have to cut it. Takes me also just 1 minute to put it in the air fryer. Then frozen broccoli. I need to have at least some vegetables. Oats. I love oats. It it takes you just 1 minute to pour it with hot water and add a scoop of protein. Don't ever like cook your oatmeal in a pot. It's a huge waste of time. I just pour it with hot water the night before and add a scoop of protein. It just takes me like 1 minute at most. So I eat around 2,600, 2,700 calories per day as I'm losing a bit of weight. And I prep around 1,900 calories per day. So I get the other 700 from something in the office. That's usually bananas, apples, toast with salmon, ham. So that's why I keep a food scale in the office because I still could eyeball a little bit, but I wouldn't recommend this. Next one. Eliminate as many distractions from your life as possible. That means like stop going out to drink, stop going out to restaurants, stop going to events and parties that you don't even like with people that you don't even want to spend time with. I know it sounds so basic, but so many people do this. The older you get, the more I notice, like specifically people around the age of 30, they think that they have to go to some like stupid charity events, like some Zumba classes, some German language classes. Like, what the fuck? Since when did people became so white? Um, Honestly, might be a bit controversial, but like no dating, no romantic, no casual sex partners. Because look, when you're in your 20s, it's really too early for a serious relationship, and that just personally my view. Look, I don't have a girlfriend, and it gives me so much more time. I couldn't imagine what I would do if I would have had a girlfriend. It would be just complete whack to my routine, really. And you have so much less time when you are in a relationship. You don't even imagine. Like it really takes away more time than you think. You think you maybe have like 1 2 dates per week. That's like 1 to 2 1 2 to 3 hours, but it's honestly more than that. Look, of course, like having a life partner and family is like literally the main human mission to reproduce and live like kids, live your genes, live genes in your kids for future. I know that's like basic human need, right, in the pyramid of needs, but not for now, man. Like really not for now. That just my view. I will make a separate video on this, on like eliminating as many distractions as possible, because that's like such a big topic for me. uh Numero siete. Don't be afraid to increase caffeine intake, right? I was very skeptical on caffeine after I completely quit it when I was 19. When I was 19, I never was really consuming any caffeine until the age of like 18. That's where my parents bought a coffee machine, and I was like, wow, that's like amazing. 18, shoving up caffeine into my bloodstream directly. 19, was always crashing from coffee at midday. So I just quit it. And I felt like, wow, that's great. Then when I was 22, I got back to caffeine because I had to write my bachelor's thesis while working full time at the office and going to the gym. Um, I started drinking matcha, I remember, yeah. Then I started using even more caffeine when I started my current job. Then started using even more caffeine when I started dieting 2 months ago. So I needed caffeine in the morning to have energy. more caffeine to stay sharp at my job, and caffeine before workout because I don't have much energy on a caloric deficit, right? Look, you don't have to go to that deep as I do, because most likely you work less hours than me, and most likely you're not on a caloric deficit. But it's just to show you that it's not harmful to abuse some caffeine. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of it. Like, safe zone is still 400 milligrams. So let me clue you in on this calculator, right? So I think I'm getting like 2 espressos per day, right? One espresso I think like it's like 50 milligrams. So we had 100. Then I drink one matcha, which is another 50. Then maybe I have another coffee, which is another 50. Then I have a pre-workout for the gym, which is like 200. We're ending up at 400 milligrams of caffeine. So like I'm still in the safe zone, and I'm using quite a lot of caffeine. I think that's great. And just think of what really moves the needle in the gym. You know, if you have really little time, man, just skip sauna, skip stretching after workout. But obviously, do this on the weekends. Otherwise, like, you will be fucked, man. You will be absolutely fucked from sitting all the time. I had such a bad lower back injury after doing leg press one time. It was very bad. Stop doing these gay isolation exercises. Just switch them for heavier lifts that still targets the same muscle group, right? Don't do some stupid ass exercise like I don't even know what exercise to tell you because I don't do any stupid exercises. Um, but anyways, but on the other side, kind of something uh, against this point is prioritize muscles for aesthetic V shape. So it's shoulders, which is a smaller muscle, biceps, which is a smaller muscle. So whenever you're doing any exercise, make sure it's either a large group, a large muscle group, or it enhances your V shape, right? So for example, I switched my triceps training. Like, I previously I was doing like specifically isolation exercise for tricep. Like, I was taking a cable and basically doing like this amazing exercise, grew my triceps a lot. But it's not for V shape, and it's not for and it's not a big group of muscle. So I switched that to narrow bench press on a Smith machine. So then it also I can do much higher weight, because with this exercise I was doing maybe like 20 kilos at most on one arm, so that's 40 kilos. On a Smith, I'm pressing 70 kg, right? So that's 30 kg up. That's like 75% higher weight, right? And I'm still targeting my triceps as the main muscle. So that's the switches that you have to make. Another one, I was doing like lateral raises with dumbbells, which like builds your lateral shoulders, which is absolutely amazing, right? But I switched that to like overhead press machine, which mainly targets your front delts, but it also really really well targets your lateral delts, which not many people might have thought about, but that's actually true. Do drop sets and supersets. This is a time saver. I'm gonna be honest. On nutrition, look, if you're one of these guys who think that bulking is fun because you can shove in your stomach as much junk food as possible, this slide is specifically for you. Look, uh, you most likely get a brain fog from eating a lot of carbs. That's basically just insulin resistance, and it sucks. That's actually what most people do, what most people have. And in the work, specifically when you have to work with your brain and just think and be sharp, not make any mistakes, which is probably most of the office jobs, right? you can't really allow yourself to have a brain fog. So have a big carb meal, not 3 minutes, but like 30 minutes. That's 30 to 60 minutes before the workout. So for me, my job was ending at like 7:30 p.m. So I would eat at like probably eat at like 6 to 6:30. I would have like this big bowl of oatmeal, probably like 180 grams of uncooked oatmeal. So that would be like 120 grams of carbs, which is like 30% of my daily carb needs. And honestly, for that hour of digesting it, I wouldn't even really feel that foggy anyways. And another thing that I tried that literally blew my mind that it worked for me is actually eating a lot of carbs very early in the day, almost at the beginning of my working day, actually. So it was also a big bowl of oatmeal, like 160 to 180 grams uncooked. I would just come to the office and I immediately start eat them. And honestly, like these first 2.5 hours are actually very important because I'm doing my tasks that are quite important, and I didn't have any brain fog. I don't know how it works honestly, because whenever I would have the same meal, let's say 11 a.m. 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., I would have insane brain fog. But not in this situation though. I don't know how that worked, but trust me, it did work. And look for low volume, high carb sources, which are as little processed as possible. So, of course, my favorite, oats. Just pour less water to have a smaller volume. Granola, but just make sure it has little sugar. A lot of granolas are also like high protein stuff, quite good thing. Dates, I absolutely love dates. I remember I was eating maybe 6 to 7 dates in one chug right before the workout. I would always have it in my glove compartment in the car. Whenever I would drive to the gym and park in the parking lot, I would just eat like 6, 7 of them. I think one is like 20 calories, which is like pure carbs. So seven will be 140 calories. Very easy. Brain flakes. I don't think I wrote it right. No, brain flakes. No, it's like, I don't know. It's like, it sounds the same. I think it's spelled differently. I think it's BRANE. I mean, not like this brain flakes. I wrote something not right. Anyways, honey and agave syrup, both are beautiful. I would prefer agave syrup as it's like twice the price, twice cheaper. And whole grain pitas tortillas, amazing, amazing. So just I'll probably do a separate video on this as well. So that's just really the basics of how I structure my training around a full-time job.